Hola, buenos dias. This is Caipacho with the weekly Pele Report. It is December 5th of 2018. And I usually show you nature shots, and then I went out and I got this program to show you the solar system. But let's today just look at what it looks like on an astrologer's computer program. You can see that I have been talking about for quite some time, Jupiter in square. See the little square there? 2, this Mars-Neptune was conjunct last week, and it's conjunct this week. And we're gonna see that evolve, right? Then we had Venus over here, right? She went up into Scorpio, then she went retrograde back into Libra. Now she's coming back in. Last week I talked about her in opposition to Uranus. That's Uranus over there. And all of them see the big square, the grand square to the moon's nodes. This is the north node of the moon. Looks a little bit like Leo. And the south node of the moon. And there could be a line here, but they're always opposite each other. So you get that. Very something else. Now, what I want to talk about a little bit today is, look what's going on here. Mercury, 27 degrees of Scorpio. Trine, the north node of the moon at 27 degrees of Cancer. Trine, Chiron at 27 degrees of Pisces. Now, it's very unusual to have a trine like this last as long as this one is lasting. Because you see Mercury is retrograde. See that little R? That R means retrograde. But not for long. Let's move it forward. You can watch the days go by here. Today's Wednesday. Here we go. I'm moving it forward. Boom. Boom. S means station. Mercury is stationing at 27 degrees, right? So it's still. And that grand trine is hanging on. Is hanging on, because Mercury is sitting there at that same degree, 27 degrees. I mean, it's exact for days and days and days. We got to give it at least 10 days. I mean, if we go back. Okay, let's say, Mercury retrograded back into Scorpio December 2nd. Now watch that blue triangle. It's going to stay there, right? Let's just say until Mercury goes back into Sag. From December 2nd to December 12th. 10 days. 10 days of this beautiful grand trine. So we are going to communicate about the wounds, right? Having to do with, security, emotional connection, and our past. Stepping out of the patriarchy, which is associated with Capricorn, into a new reality. I'm going to talk about that today. But what else do we have? That's not the only thing going on. You can see what? The new moon. Friday, new moon, Sagittarius. Oh yeah, baby. Here we've got all day Thursday, right? The moon is traveling, conjunct Jupiter, then it hits the sun. So, Thursday and Friday, we've got this moon moving through Sagittarius, fire, light, optimism. We've still got this Mercury and Venus both happening in Scorpio. Venus still in opposition to Uranus, though she's moving away from it. And of course, what do we have here, right? Really by Friday, Mars exactly conjunct Neptune. And that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's going on. I give it these at least, you can give Mars a 5-degree orb. Here's 13 to 18. An orb is how far apart they are to still be effective. And especially with the moon coming through here, I mean, that's, the 14th. So this is only the 5th. So this Mars-Neptune is effective, I'd give it 2 weeks. It's been in effect. It's intensifying. It will be most intense, okay, Friday this weekend. And then what else happens that I want to talk about? Well, the moon, obviously on Sunday, hits Saturn and Pluto. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, this sun is still square I'm going to talk about Sun square Neptune, Mars, and Jupiter coming into square Neptune and Mars. That's really happening from 7. It's happening most of 2019. Jupiter will be square Neptune. I'll be talking about that for months to come. So I just wanted to give you a little shot of, the moon moving through. Okay, I mean, today on the 5th, like I say, she is conjunct Mercury right now. Okay, this is early this morning at 1 a.m. Okay, she's in Scorpio. So right now for this report, we've got Venus, Moon, Mercury in Scorpio, and we are going to be talking about the taboo. Yeah, Mercury in Scorpio. Let's talk about the taboo, what people don't like to talk about. And then it's going to lighten up here a little bit. This weekend is going to be, fiery moon. Okay, until Sunday, it's going to get serious. We're going to sober up a little bit here. Okay, and then it's going to get wild as the moon comes around to conjoin with Lilith. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, by next Wednesday, the next Pele report, we can talk more about the taboo. Actually, then boom, Mercury moves out of Scorpio. Okay, but that's next week's Pele report. I think that's enough for right now. I'm just going to stop it and look at the camera.
Okay, everybody. Yikes. It's all getting so intense, man. Moon in Scorpio conjunct Mercury. And Venus in Scorpio. So we are going to talk about sex, the taboo, and I'm attaching articles. There's links below. I copy pasted a translation of one article from a Costa Rican sexologist that Laura, my wife, translated because you may not read Spanish, so it's in English. But then 2 articles by Judith Kuso. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. The what is it now? The divine masculine with the return of the divine feminine is what she's talking about. And the new emerges, true love in sacred union. The mantra today is about true love as being different from sex, addictions, unbounded self-expression. It's really looking, this is what we want to really discuss a little bit, because we have to look at these transits. This Mars-Neptune, Mars is the masculine. And when it conjoins with Neptune, Neptune is spirit. Neptune is platonic love. Neptune is divine love. And in Pisces, this is really spiritual, twin flame, soul mate, really divine, sacred union, as opposed or differing from profane sexuality, just physical, get it on, get it off, I, me, my. It's, there's a lot of self-pleasuring, okay, and physical pleasuring that does not include the divine element at all. And so we're moving and we're changing these aspects that are happening now. And here's the Sun and Jupiter in Sagittarius looking to expand our consciousness and come into truth. Not only truth, natural law. Natural law. So the sexologist article is about the natural, okay, I don't like his terminology, but it's very fascinating that he knows nothing about evolutionary astrology, and he still refers to 70% of the world's population, which is the consensus. He says it's pre-human. And 30%, which is the individuated and spiritual, he is saying is the human. And it's a potential. right? And there are 30% operating with more consciousness around sexuality. And that whole article is what kind of really brought it up to me about the new paradigm. We talk about the new paradigm, the age of Aquarius, liberation, freedom from the patriarchy. What does that mean? This is my latest investigation. And part of it, I'm going to say, has really got so much to do with what he talks about, and this is the female orgasm, and how the male penis, is just like 100% ejaculate. You insert and ejaculate. He says the average is like in 4 or 5 seconds or something. Woo! Yeah. Whereas the female genitalia, okay, is more hidden, it's more inner, it's more, and there is a very few. He's saying that 30%, actually orgasm during intercourse. I'm not talking about outside of intercourse. And that 60 to 80% of women are faking orgasm so that the man doesn't feel bad. So this is a very interesting dynamic because, when we look at Tantra and we look at sacred sexuality and we look at this rise of the feminine, this is also the female, okay, speaking up for herself. Number one, feeling empowered enough to be ready. I mean, think of, thousands, maybe millions of years of copulating, and why he calls it pre-human. It's almost as if, okay, humans are the only animal species on the planet where the female does orgasm. And this can be what the new paradigm is about. Just think if the 70% of women who are not coming to orgasm during intercourse did, we'd have a lot more satisfied ladies going around, which would make for a lot more satisfied men going around, which would make for satisfied children and passing on through generations, okay? And then I included these articles and the links to Judith because she talks about then the nature of the masculine and through the patriarchy. First of all, the nature of the masculine is to be hard, tough, structured, build skyscrapers, phallus, penetrate, okay? But there is an inner feminine. So the masculine is mind and structure and control and thoughts and thinking and building. This is Mars, masculine energy. Mars, co-ruler of Scorpio, about power, financial power, okay, domination, control, conquer. Aries, Scorpio, Mars, energy. And the feminine, which in the majority of men, and this can be, in gay relationships also. I'm not just talking men and women, but in gay relationships, there is still a masculine element and a female partner. They take turns and switch, but there is still. Just look at it. We don't want to get too stuck on it in terms of gender, but the feminine, in the majority of men, is the anima, or it's the subconscious. So in general, men are more aware of their Mars and out of touch with their Venus. And in general, women are in touch with their Venus and out of touch with their Mars. It's more unconscious. Well, the unconscious part of the masculine is this feminine, which is soft, curvy, sensuous, pliable, changeable, but also full of vitality and fertility. The feminine gives birth. So it's this juicy lusciousness. So the masculine can dry out. Yeah, Aries is fire. I mean, it's just like hard and harsh and cold and can be cruel or whatever. It's just like, rah. Yeah. The divine masculine is when, okay, that cold, hard, powerful, pioneering, penetrating phallus gets in touch with the inner feminine and softens and becomes more pliable, gets in touch with the heart. And the heart wants connection and union and cares about and nurtures the other. So this is the man controlling his ejaculation. Less than 30% of men are controlling their ejaculation. I think it's way less than that. Okay? And focusing on pleasing, pleasuring, raising, connecting, and bringing the feminine so that it is actually a divine union, with simultaneous orgasm, or at least a shared orgasmic experience. And so this then is the masculine devoting itself to the feminine and allowing the feminine to relax, open, surrender, feel safe, cared for, and this raises the energy of, and then this is how we come into sacred union. This is what the Tantra is about. So these days, I'm just looking at what's out there. There can be all kinds of liberation going on, right? Like I show more flesh on Instagram than anybody else, or I go out with more people, or I sleep with more people, and I'm liberated. But this can be in a very superficial way. I just want to really point out, okay, it's quality over quantity. This is quantity is actually addiction. It's like I need more and more and more and more, and the more people I'm with, and the more I'm, exposing myself, or the more that I'm, talking, talk. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about that. So we can talk about it, and we can show it, and we can play it, but what is only only you and your partner or partners know what is going on behind closed doors. Well, sometimes it's out in nature. Sagittarius is nature. Doesn't have to be behind closed doors or under sheets, but Scorpio is private. And intimacy is private, and being vulnerable is private, and orgasm is a private, even shared private, experience. And whether this is happening or not does not show on Facebook, is what it takes depth. We talk about deep, true love. This is what these articles, that Judith wrote about, is deep. True love. True love is the name of the one article. By the way, with that one article, you have to scroll halfway down, like way down through a couple of poems and another article to get to the article that I'm talking about of the divine masculine with the return of the divine feminine. That's, it's a long scroll down there. But I just wanted to bring this up because Jupiter will be squaring Neptune. Right now, Mars is conjunct Neptune. And we can have, like I talked about, I think, last week, just addictions, escapism, denial. I want to go into the void. And this is what Judith talks about. And the masculine has this inner void. She even talks about it going to Adam. And that the masculine, complained that there was an emptiness. He complained to God, and God created Lilith. And Lilith was this powerful, juicy, feminine energy that was like, whoa, and it was, and she wasn't about to be dominated or lay beneath Adam, she was a little too much for Adam, basically. And so Adam complained again to God. Okay, and Lilith left, and Eve came along, and Eve was more soft, humble, devoted, following whatever, But the masculine can also complain about Eve. Too loving, too boring, too predictable, too whatever I want. Where's that Lilith? Dynamic, challenging, powerful feminine energy. So, this is just like divine discontent that's gone on through the patriarchy of the man conquering, wanting, longing to fill this inner void with that juicy feminine life force energy. And, fighting other men, fighting women, abusing even his own penis. Yeah, just like, really going around and then having self-loathing, okay, for all of the disaster that, has resulted from his discontent. And this is just like seeking outside of ourselves for fulfillment through substances. So the mantra goes in, right? Food, drink, drugs, sex, give me. I'm looking to fill that empty void. This is addiction, and it takes more and more and more and more and more until this is the new paradigm. This is the new potential, that rather than the man seeking, okay, outside of himself, he connects inwardly to the inner feminine, and thereby, so much self-loathing and punishment and anger and rage towards the feminine, towards himself, wars would stop. And women would be like way more satisfied and way more open and way more relaxed and way more willing and I mean, 90% of the jails in the United States are filled with men. Yeah? And it's 70 to 90% of men, commit suicide. Okay? The numbers of suicide for men are... Chiron is going into Aries for the next 8 years, finishing up these final degrees of Pisces. We're going to be working with the wounded masculine. Yes, the feminine has been wounded, but you don't have one wound without the other. We wound each other. We can't be whole and complete without each other. Mars and Venus, Eros and Psyche, complement and fulfill each other. So I'm just really kind of looking at some of these things. Yeah. And of course, there's the dark side of the feminine, right? That seductive, energy that can, manipulate or take advantage of the void that the man, it's like the need or the emptiness that the man has. It's like, yes, I can fill that, but then you are mine. Right? So there is this other aspect or element of, the abuse or the misuse of our kundalini, chi energy. It goes, with both sexes. It goes with, just being part of mastering, right? And understanding our physical nature, emotional nature, mental nature, and spiritual nature. This is the time. So let's look at the mantra then, right? I no longer need to fill my void with food, drink, drugs, or sex. For now I know that deep, true love goes above and beyond all the rest. It's possible. It's attainable. It requires consciousness. I would say it requires some commitment, yes, to the partnership, to each other, to unveil, to unravel, to be vulnerable, to feel safe, to be able to relax into the arms, the legs, the bodies, the psychic energy, astral space of another. This is not a one-night stand kind of a thing. Yeah? This takes, right? You know, this is like the path of Tantra. It's not for the weak-hearted. Exposing, constantly pulling off layers and layers and going deeper and deeper and deeper to experience a union that is absolutely profound. And yet, it is the, right? Highest, above and beyond. So this Venus moving through Scorpio, she's coming back. She came in, went retrograde. Like I said, she was conjunct Uranus last March, the late March, and then again in middle of June. Came back now, you know, for an opposition 3 times. September, October, November. You know, she's just been messing around with wake up, everybody. And then she, you know, set in the night sky and rose up in the morning sky. She's powerful now. Very powerful in Scorpio. And she could be a little angry. Yeah? You know, I mean, Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Okay, this underworld. You know, Venus is happy in Taurus and Libra. But she's moving through Scorpio and not messing around. But I said, like, you know, you can see the moon moves into Sag. By tomorrow, you know, by Thursday, by the weekend, you know, things lighten up. But still, just, you know, the awareness once had can liberate us for a long period of time. And this is what, you know, Uranus opposite Venus is all about. Awakening and awareness. And of course, Uranus is going through Aries, waking us up to this whole masculine nature thing. And then, you know, is going to go into Taurus for the next 7 years. So we have Uranus awareness in Taurus and Chiron healing in Aries. This is Aries, Taurus, Venus, Mars, masculine, feminine, yin, yang, extrovert, introvert, you know, like penetrate, receive. I mean, this is like, you know, this is the big thing going on for like the next 7, 8 years. Very powerful time for healing, balancing, awakening, and let's all, you know, use this as a great opportunity, starting with like now and moving all through 2019 with Jupiter in Sag, square Neptune. One last time, and I no longer need to fill my void with food, drink, drugs, or sex. It could also be shopping. Laura was telling me that, you know, a lot of times the female can go shopping. Things. She wanted to put things into the mantra. So you can plug things in there. It's not just food, drink, drugs, or sex. It could just be, you know, shopping cart items. Oh, man. Anyway, where was I? I no longer need to fill my void with food, drink, drugs, or sex. For now I know that deep, true love goes above and beyond all the rest. May you experience deep, true love. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.